Hello friends, I'm Colonel Failure, and this is Transport Fever, and we're in our second series now, and as such, we've gone a little bit custom. I've got the game paused, but I'm sure most of you know what's coming already, but just in case you don't, that's right, it is the return of the North Atlantic map. Now, this one is a little on the flat side, but hopefully it should provide enough of a challenge to keep things entertaining. So starting here in North Africa, we've got Algiers, then we've got Madrid, and then Toulouse and Nantes and Zurich, Paris, Berlin, Copenhagen, Stockholm, Tromsø, and Edinburgh, London, Dublin. And then as we hop across the Atlantic here, which literally is a hop, New York, Toronto, Chicago, Charlotte, Atlanta, Miami, Kansas City, and Port Nelson are over on the North American side. Now, in terms of mods and so forth, I've got virtually everything enabled apart from the no costs mod, because that's cheating. Yeah, we're going to play it properly, even though I'm modded out the wazoo. I've got both European and US vehicles enabled. I've also added a few more from that there Steam Workshop, and once I've figured out how to allow Steam to upload this map, I'll share it and the collection of mods that I'll be using in this series, so that you all can play along at home. I mean, the goal here, let's face it, is going to be to make the most out of shipping, and likewise make the most out of aircraft. I think we've got a fighting chance of this happening. So stay tuned. We're on our way. So to get us started, I'm basically going to build a couple of passenger routes. We're in 1850. When have you known me to start any other time? A couple of passenger routes to get us rolling to begin with. And to be honest, I'd be tempted to remake this map a little bit more hilly. For those of you who are looking forward to something slightly mountainous and slightly exciting, Season 3 will be your fellow. We'll go looking for a custom map that does all of that. And then we'll play from there. But in this first kickoff, what I'm looking for is a Paris to Berlin kind of an idea. In fact, it's going to be Paris to Berlin on both sides of the Atlantic. My hope is, rather than switching focus constantly from one side to the other, my hope is that I can do both in parallel. So Paris to Berlin, and we're going to go passenger rail, obviously. Now, my goal in this early setup of the game is going to be to make as much cash as possible, so that rather than waiting until later stages in the game to start messing around with goods, I can get going on that a little bit quicker. So Paris, we got all of our residential is out this way. So I mean, with a bit of luck to start with, I probably won't need interior bus routes, although Berlin might benefit from it, I guess. Also, I ought to think about this in terms of where are we going to go. What's our long-term objective? Long-term objective is to actually build up as large a kind of suburban sprawl from each city as possible. And unlike the previous series, I will be endeavouring to make sure that every city gets connected. See, if I just do east-west like this, getting this to head elsewhere is going to involve hanging a vicious round that way, and similarly like that, I suppose. Unless we cut out of Berlin, so we make Berlin a terminal, we could cut up to Copenhagen and then Stockholm and possibly even cut across the line. Yeah, okay. I can see some benefit in doing that. Yeah, I'm going to try and do this so that I'm not endlessly rebuilding stuff. Hopefully. As you can see, we've already got another platform style here. If we just make this a 4. This one here. So this is a station that doesn't have a middle platform. Useful. I can think of several applications for that already. Let's go for a terminal. Is a terminal the best idea? I think the terminal is the best idea here. Because if we get it in the right place, then Berlin could grow up toward the coast, and that could be engaging and interesting. Right. So catchment is all important for getting started. Providing it's got enough catchment, I shouldn't need. Oh, this is definitely going to need an interior route. To which end I might as well place a little further back. I mean, the ideal would be to stick it in there, but I'm not going to pay $1.5 million, you know, as my opening gambit. I want to try and keep this relatively inexpensive to begin with. Now I've got 4 stations on there, 156,000 versus going monster, which is 250,000. I think we'll go monster later. Let's go for one platform, keep it absolutely as cheap as can possibly be initially, and then later we will go further. But I will make it as long as possible, because that's the bit that will cost me the most to institute later on. Are we there? I think we might be. Let's go 2nd Street connection immediately. Yeah, is this a wise plan? I'm going to need to block out or pay more later. I will stuff it. We will pay more later, but I will have both ends set up to connect immediately. Right, there we go. See, look, my commitment. And one of the mods I've adds these funky little icons for all buildings that I'm placing. So whether that's stations or anything else for that matter. I think it just shows them up a bit better. Let's head that way a touch, and then now you see I want to connect up there, but I want to do it. There you are. See, that's not so hard, is it? There we are. Right. Should we set the other side up now? No, we won't. We will set the other side up later. So that's going to need an internal commuter route in order to get the best out of it. Paris, meanwhile, is going to head over to Nantes and then Toulouse and then Madrid, and possibly work that as a point-to-point, or work it as a circuit. Zurich can get into Berlin, which means we could do Zurich, Rome, maybe round to Algiers. I don't know. There's options there. Either way, Paris, the ideal station placement is going to be running through the middle, thusly. Give me this. No. We do want a middle platform on this, but we are going to want to run stuff through town. Now, the expensive part of this setup will either be the track. Yeah, I know. Radical thought there. Or it will be the train itself. If it's the train, that's not so bad. I fully anticipate trains being fairly costly, but I'm going to need 2 trains in total, and in order to kind of make the most out of this starting setup, I'm going to want to be running on both sides of the Atlantic, if at all possible. I don't want to remove any buildings, okay? So let's give you a little bit more, just enough so that we can avoid making people homeless on day one. There you go. Right, let's have a look. Where's my target here? That's good. Yep, running in parallel with that chap's house. I'm sure he's going to love it. All right, smashing. Now, other objectives for this series, while I do some interruption of main connections. We will be going for a central engine shed, a central depot, at some point. We're not going to do it to start with because it's too expensive. We will, however, be adding it later. Now, because this map is very, very flat, track laying shouldn't actually prove to be too much of a hassle. I'm almost reluctant to get started on somewhere where track laying is so easy. But hey, I mean, you know, if this ends up being really, really easy, it will be quite a quick series, and then we'll go on to the next one, and that's how it rolls. Okay, good. That's one, and that has cost me just a shade over £250,000. That's perfectly acceptable. Right, now I need an engine shed, and it's going to have to be at Paris, eh? Okay, have I got any engine shed options? I don't appear to have. I could have sworn I'd bought some more, but never mind. Splendid. Right, there we go. Let's buy ourselves a merry little train. Actually, check the catchment on this sucker. We are going to want, yeah, we're definitely going to want some commuting there as well. Well, it's the smart thing to do. Fake Loco, for those of you checking, allows you to create an invisible train. I know it's odd, but what you can then do with it is park it up in a siding with a whole bunch of trucks and carriages and whatever else takes your fancy, and just leave it there, which is great fun. It means that you can create sidings full of nonsense. Where should we start? I think, you know, we're in the greenery of Europe. We'll start with this green. Let's buy that. We've gone straight for purchase. That's pretty impressive. What are you? So this is the Spanish Brottler barn again. This will be the American one. Whereas we get these dinky cars in Europe. Okay, fine. And I guess, well, I mean, the costs kind of balance each other out, so that's fine as well. What do you cost? 272. So that's the price of what? 3 of them almost. Pretty much 3 of them exactly. Okay, fine. 1, 2, 3. We'll start with 3, and we will up the tempo as the need arises. Right, let's get a route for this bad boy. 1 and 2. And this is perhaps predictably going to be Berlin to Paris. Good. Right. Smashing. Well, we're already international. That's Germany and France hooked up immediately. But before I get that going, I want to get the town set up with commuter routes, so that we can hopefully expand quickish. Faster than quickish, probably too much to hope for, but quickish will, I think is a reasonable request. And I also ought to start thinking about expanding on the other side early. Otherwise, we're likely to get, sorry for the camera move there, we're likely to get sprawl start to spread out on this side of Paris and nothing happening over the other side, which is, as you well know, rubbish. So I think we'll stick in a crafty level crossing here, game permitting. Games like, yeah, you want a level crossing? No problem. That's a French accent now. That's the ugliest junction of the series so far, and I've probably deleted that. No, it's okay. It's fine. It's happy enough. Now I'm going to build this. I'm going to build this in such a way that I'm going to have to make people homeless later, because I don't know what I'm doing. There we are. Maybe nobody will move in. That's a joke. Everyone always wants to move into your towns because they're amazing. Bang that out there. Give it some country. There we are. And then what? Berlin to Paris road has been disconnected. Well, so it has. Get used to this, incidentally. Get used to that thing go post, whatever that may mean, because the transatlantic bridge is not going to stick with us. The only means of crossing the Atlantic will be plane and ship. We will not be tolerating any road traffic or rail traffic heading across the Atlantic. Berlin to Copenhagen. Oh, okay, fair enough. However, before we do that, let's set Berlin to grow in the same way. Now, this is going to result in me having to make a bunch of people homeless later. They only have themselves to blame. Well, they can probably blame me, actually, to be fair to them. But I want to make these towns something special. There you go. Actually, that's not bad. That'll use up a bit more space than perhaps is needed. And then we'll run one more across like that, so they have a couple of connection options. There we are. Right, so let's do that thing that I was going to do. Commuter routes. Because if we don't do them now, you'll struggle to do them later. And you'll still need to do them. We've already bought the train, so if this comes in all in at under $1 million in cost, well, that's a good thing, because then we can challenge ourselves to do a similar American line that comes in under $1 million in cost. And we all know how the Americans like to do things big. However, I have made their map nice and sedate, so it shouldn't prove to be too tricky. And I think I've already got picked out where I'm going to build initially. Right, okay, so the catchment of the station's pretty good, if I recall correctly. What do we got here? Right, we've got this main strip, but we haven't got this lot, we haven't got that lot, and people like going to factories. That's just a thing people like doing. I'm not going to run in two directions. We'll go with our traditional clockwise only approach. No, we will go with our traditional anti-clockwise approach, because that's closer to the station and they don't have to stop to cross the road. Bus. Good. Does what it says on the sign. On the right. Everyone travels on the right? Do they? Does this feel right to you? Possibly. Let's stick this one relatively close. Stick another one there. Head around the corner. Catch that lot. Catch this lot. And then round and home. Okie doke. Well, we'll find out if I got that wrong presently. Paris, number 1 and 2 and a bit of that and a little bit of this. Some of that, and bingo. Right, good. There's no reversing going on there. So this is going to be commuter. Wunderbar, as they say in Gay Paris. Let's do something similar in Gay Berlin. Okay, right, catchment. Ooh, better catchment here. That's nice. Possibly, is it because it's a terminal? Maybe. Could be. Right. Where do we want to let them in? Let's let them in down here. In fact, the other end of the station is so far away. It's tempting to stick a stop at both ends. Just in case. Right. We'll go one there, and then we'll swing out around this way. That would appear to get somewhere slightly more obscure. Now, do we cut through the middle, or do we go take in the sites at the industrial area? I think we go take in the sites at the industrial area. And then we'll whiz it down here, and then we'll go across there, which takes it a little more. How much do you actually get there, chum? Pretty much everything I'm missing, apart from that lot. Well, that's okay. If I now stop at this bit as well, that will do the job, I should think, nicely. So, I mean, I don't mind if there's a little bit of overlap between stops. From my perspective, it gives passengers the choice of where they want to get on and ride the horse and pony show. There we are. You've chosen a slightly unusual route there, friend. I like it. But if you're going to do that, then we'll get shot of that, and instead we'll stick it over there. There you are. If you're going to go that way, we'll embrace it. Okay, good. Right. So this will be. Don't put the bulldozer on. Bad things will happen. BER, Burr, and whatever the name of this route's going to be, commuter. Obviously, quite obviously. Okie dokie. Right, there's Paris commuter, there's Berlin commuter, there's the line manager, which we don't need, and there's the big special train fandango. Right. You, sir, get operating on Berlin to Paris. Now, pretty straightforward. I like it. Okay, now I need to set some wagons on the go. This is going to need two of your finest wagon depots, which don't change as they get old. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's not something that you would see. I mean, those skylights, I don't think are period. I think that's an aberration. Oh, well, never mind. Right, buy road vehicles. Let's go with... Now, which do you use? Stagecoach feels American to me. I think there you go. A common stagecoach used for public transportation in the early years, and a common carriage used for public transportation in the early years. Well, fine. We'll go with the carriage, I suppose. Keep it green, and then we'll go. What do we think here? 5, I suppose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll set all of you lot onto the Berlin commuter. And hopefully this will be enough, and in fact it's almost certain to be enough to fill my little train pretty quickly. And the aim after which will be, once I'm filling it up constantly, is we'll sling more coaches on that until the train itself can't actually pull it, and then we'll look at double tracking and expanding as required. Right, how many have we got here? No, 5 again will probably do the job. Hopefully, this will break evenish. 2, 3, 4, 5. But we'll drag a few unsuspecting passengers to the station, wherein they may opt to catch themselves a little trainaroo. On the subject of which, look at the little Toy Town train. Fantastico. Right, now I've only got 900 grand left, which is just a little less than I might have. I'll turn off the costs thing. There you go. Let's steady on. Let's track it. No, I don't want to ride on it. We'll ride on it coming back. I want to track it for this first one. So we can see this fella who, like everybody else, is eyes to the stars, keeping a watchful eye out for the aliens. Now the landscape may be somewhat flat, but we do have plenty of trees to call our own, and that's another mod that I've got enabled. It could be called the the more trees, mow trees mod, but I don't think it is. I think it's called, additional foliage or something like that. And again, once I've figured out how to upload the map, I'll share the full collection of mods that I'm using in this series. Right, good. Ain't she dandy? Right, let's get out of here and pick an arrival angle to festoon ourselves with. Yeah, that's an arrival angle if ever I saw one. Look at this. This is, the most tranquil place you could possibly imagine. Here it comes. 1 times train. Small. 1 times tree. Tall. Anybody at all interested first time out? No, not yet. Anybody waiting for a bus? Not yet. Oh, I see. So we've got... that's saying it's Steam. Oh, I'm not as keen on these icons as I was before. Maybe I'll get used to them, probably. Hopefully. Okay, right. Well, there's a... You got any plans for the rest of the day there, Chief? Yeah, I should think so. Get back to work. Oh, hello. Here we go. It's Isambard Kingdom Brunel himself, come to have a ride on the train in France. Because, you would, wouldn't you? It's gone through the underpass. Is he just going to go hang out in there and generally be unsavoury. I would hope not. There we go. Oh, and look, lady. Lady coming to ride the train. She has heard it is quite the modern thing. There we go. And we've got people waiting for buses. Right, this is going to take off quite quickly, I would hope. Let's ride this one in, shall we? Now, obviously, because this is the slowest thing ever to travel by rails, other than Stephenson's rocket, we're riding at a slightly elevated pace, and that is purely for the sake of a bit of time convenience. Oh, look, you're fighting passengers off with a stick now. How many have we got there? 4 whole people. You missed it, mate. They're not going to be back for 6 months or more. What I haven't enabled is the go slow mod. The take your time, no rush. Will be about this in no time flat, because I quite like to be honest, the progress you get at the standard game speed is okay. Although what I would quite like to do at some point is kind of be, 1955 forever or thereabouts. I think that's around the time when all of my favourite transport stuff is kind of still operational. But here we go. Look, we've got 11 people waiting at the station. We've got people waiting for buses. Let's see if we've actually made any money yet. We made 198 quid last year from taking people on a horse and cart ride. Majestic. Oh, and we've got a loan. Oh, I forgot about that. I should have repaid it. That would have saved me £7,000. 7.5 grand even. Right, let's write it in. What a view. These trees are quite something. Anyway, this initial line should help Berlin start to grow. Should help Paris start to grow. If I add a third city to the line and double track it along and all of that kind of business, then all 3 of those towns will really start to grow quite quickly. At which point the challenge is going to be making sure that I'm not neglecting growth elsewhere. Otherwise, you end up with a couple of mega cities and not a lot else. There we go, full load. And the load on the way in was worth 10,000. Gonna need a couple more coaches on there, I suspect. Anyway, that will wrap it up for this first episode. In the next episode, given that we're going to be playing this series in a ping-pong fashion, we'll be over in America, where we will do pretty much exactly the same thing. If I have to take out a bit of a loan to make that happen, I'm going to take out a bit of a loan to make that happen. So be sure to tune in order to, not miss out on said things. We're just getting started here. We're already in 1851. How time marches on. How many waiting? 14. Right, good. This early push seems to be working quite nice. 4 passengers on there. Let's go and have a look at it, shall we? The horse and cart. I mean, you'd have to want it. I mean, firstly, you're going to be very, very friendly with your neighbours. Secondly, one wrong move, clip the curb, and you're all eating concrete, which hasn't, strictly speaking, been invented yet. But there you go. Anyway, thank you very much for watching today. I've been Colonel Failure. Chuck a like at this one if you would be so kind. It helps other people find it so that they may enjoy the series too. And subscribe so that you can enjoy the series. See, I want other people to enjoy the series. Oh, I got the low smoke mod as well. It's a bit better, isn't it? Yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch up with you very soon. The next episode will be on its way pretty soon. Cheerio.